Welcome to Adamic Yoga. If you're enjoying the information we share, please remember to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell for more edifying spiritual content. Today we are kicking off our blood series with a video that introduces an interesting perspective concerning the bond between one's blood and one's spirit. Contrary to popular belief, blood does a lot more than just transport, protect, and regulate. In ancient civilizations, the blood was understood to be the bridge between the spirit and the earthly avatar. In his book, The Spiritual Mysteries of Blood, Christopher Vesey speaks on the connection between the blood and the astral body being due to the blood's ability to radiate. It is through this blood radiation that the astral body and the spirit is able to communicate with each other. Consequently, any changes to the blood composition results in a weakened and compromised bond between the body and the spirit, thus leaving the body prone to diseases, lack of will, possessions, and eventually death. The power of blood is conveyed through the biblical story of Adam, whose name is the inspiration behind Adamic Yoga. The name Adam is from the Hebrew two-letter root dam, which means blood, likeness, affinity, or correspondence. These definitions afford us a better understanding of the spiritual purpose of blood. It has the likeness or an affinity towards the spirit, creating a bridge to correspond with it. This spirit was given unto the blood by the infinite and eternal being, Yahweh. In Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, it reads, "And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostril the breath of life, and man became a living soul." This breath is called neshama, which is pure consciousness or spirit. However, for the purpose of this breakdown, we will call it the causal body. But keep in mind, the causal body is of and connected to the Infinite One. The verse goes on to say he became a living soul. The word in Hebrew is nefesh, literally meaning neck and alluding to the stimulation of desires or fears. For example, a person's neck gulps either when they are excited or when they're nervous. And this is led by one's five senses. Adam is given a counterpart, Eve, who represents consciousness via cosmic energy being concealed in the physical body, driven by the desires of the senses, allowing the avatar to upload information along the way. Being lost in desires and the misappropriation of information traps Adam, which veils the blood from its spiritual connection. Adam is then casted out of the Garden of Eden and is blocked from that source by a cherubim. Okay, quick side note. As explained in the Adamic Yoga book, Eden means self-witnessing or self-realization, and is where man sees himself as a spiritual entity. Okay, back to the lesson. Well, what is a cherubim? Well, let's look at its description in the book of Ezekiel, chapters 1, verse 10. "As for the likeness of their faces, they four had the face of a man and the face of a lion on the right side, and they four had the face of an ox on the left side. They four also had the face of an eagle." The Adamites convey the description of the cherubim as the fixed signs of our zodiac. A man's face as Aquarius, a lion's face as Leo, an ox's face as Taurus, and an eagle's face as Ophiuchus, which is located in Scorpio. So you can see that the cherubim represents the zodiac signs, and the flaming sword alludes to the planet that makes their circuit through them. These signs and planet at birth set the stage for your subconscious reality called your universe, and is what is known as our astral body. Planets are the messengers, specific energies, and recorders who record and play back our actions in the subtle body or the astral body, and it alters our moods, our feelings, and our emotions. When one comes in tune with one's astral body, one is then granted access to one's causal body and attunement with the infinite one. Alright, so back to blood and its radiation. This radiation is expressed as the Hebrew word ish, meaning man, which is derived from the Hebrew word aish, meaning fire. When the blood radiation is optimal, the spirit forms a symbiotic bond, but when the blood composition is altered, the spiritual bond becomes weakened. An example of this is when you go to sleep, your temperature drops, and your blood radiation is lowered, and now you drift into the astral realm, where the planets play back information according to their transits. The further into the sleep you go during the phase of deep sleep, for example, you then enter the causal body, where the soul finds God, and there is no experience but true rest and answers and interpretations. These things are passed to your soul. We see here keeping the blood pure is imperative for spiritual growth. By adding metal and foreign substances, toxins, and all these different components that are not naturally a part of your blood composition, it changes the composition, and unfortunately it separates man from his maker, or it separates us from the infinite one. This brings us to the end of part 1 of our blood series. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you tune into our next video.